Hi, my name is Mark Moran. This presentation is entitled Securing Electronic Personal Health Information via the HIPAA Security Rule and the High-Tech Act. It was completed to satisfy the requirements for Info 712 Information Assurance, winter semester of 2017, Drexel University. EPHI is electronic personal health information. Personal health information, by its very definition, is personal and must be protected from unwanted intrusion and discovery. Protecting electronic healthcare data is a nascent industry. When records were held on paper, a locked door or a locked filing cabinet was sufficient to protect personal health information. As technology expands into healthcare and as interconnectivity between providers increases, attacks on this data used by these entities increases. Almost 15 years ago, President George W. Bush noted the inefficiencies of communication between healthcare providers and the lack of technology in a hospital he was visiting. He had just visited another company where the workflow was improved and aided by computers. At that time, he proposed a health information technology plan to, quote, avoid dangerous medical mistakes, reduce costs, and improve care, end quote. From this proposal began the accelerated introduction of technology into healthcare, and with it, the need to protect that information in a different manner than it had been in the past. HIPAA is the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. Its original primary intent was to make insurance plans more portable for patients. It has since morphed into a much broader act with multiple ancillary rules. Recently, in 2013, the HIPAA Security Rule was released establishing a set of security standards. In this rule were requirements to ensure the safeguarding of both physical and electronic personal health information. The Security Rule and the High-Tech Act both establish and recommend standards developed by the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, which is an agency of the United States Department of Commerce. Part of this agency is dedicated to developing computer security and cybersecurity standards. It is these standards that the HIPAA Security Rule recommends. The reason for the need to protect something is because of its value. EPHI can be of value because patients want their health information private. An attacker could blackmail a patient with any of this information. Most, if not all, of EPHI databases contain sufficient information such as name, address, email, social security numbers, all the information points that can be used for identity theft. Identity theft can yield an attacker loans and purchases in the victim's name. Insurance information is also contained in these databases. These can be used to steal medical services. The progression of interconnectivity among healthcare providers also opens potential vulnerabilities for attackers. Because of these, an increased awareness is necessary among healthcare providers or in the language of HIPAA, covered entities. The healthcare industry has come under increased attacks attempting to attain this personal health information data. The largest breach today, based on the number of records compromised, was the Anthem breach. It compromised over 78 million records. Legal and liability concerns often hinder disclosure in these breaches, so determining the full nature of the breach can sometimes be difficult. But it is thought the Anthem breach was likely instigated via a phishing attack, when an installation of malware via this phishing attack to obtain administrative rights to the Anthem data. The Banner breach was significant in the manner of its attack. The attack was via the point of sale or POS system in the cafeteria. Through the cafeteria network, the attackers obtained access to the healthcare data system network. This demonstrated the need to protect secondary networks in addition to the health data network. My final example is the Presbyterian attack. This attack was a ransomware attack. Health data is very time sensitive, making it very vulnerable to a ransomware attack. A ransomware attack is accomplished via a breach which then encrypts and locks an owner from their own data. And to reobtain access, a fee or ransom must be paid. Unless a quick and immediate recovery plan is in place, healthcare entities are likely to have to pay this fee to obtain access to critical data, which is time sensitive. As mentioned earlier, the NIST was noted as a source for obtaining information regarding protecting EPHI. The NIST has established a set of standards which describe these techniques. They can be divided into 5 main categories. The first is identify. This entails identifying the resources and assets needed to be protected. In other words, what databases, computers, networks, etc. This discovery process also includes determining an entity's current capabilities to protect that data. Protect is the second category. An entity needs to describe how the identified assets are protected and how vulnerabilities are covered. A key to protecting the data is being able to detect that the data is under attack or that it has been compromised. This is the third category. While that may seem to be an obvious statement, without proper and appropriate tools in place, this could be difficult in a large network or institution. Once an attack or breach has been detected, the fourth and fifth standards come into play. A response must be ready to stop an attack, and a plan to recover from an attack must be available and be able to be implemented. The HIPAA security rule also specifically outlines regulations for covered entities to follow. This can be divided into 5 sections. The first section is administrative safeguards. These are security management functions that involve assigning responsibility. All personnel must be able to identify a person responsible for the security and privacy of information. Maintaining workforce security. Organizations must implement policies and procedures that ensure its members have access to information appropriate for the job. An often overlooked security aspect of termination procedures must also be established. Access and asset management. Logins must be recorded. This information may be useful during possible forensics after a breach. And access must be given on an as-needed basis. Granular logins, which only allow access to specific areas of data, are to be used. General logins with full access increase security risks. Assets must be accounted for, such as the location of mobile devices, and should be well documented. Training. This training must be ongoing as the techniques needed to provide the security change as new vulnerabilities are identified. Contingency and incident procedures must be created and maintained. Also, creating business associate contracts for third parties also falls under administrative safeguards. Physical safeguards are the second regulation. They require facility access control, workstation access control, security and media controls. Media control includes removal of devices off premises and logging of such, and proper disposal of retired equipment. The third item is technical safeguards. This includes data access control and auditing of this access, authentication, and transmission security. Simply put in another way, this is giving access to only those who need it and what is needed, accessing that and auditing this access while ensuring that it's transmitted securely. Organizational requirements, the fourth standard, overlaps with administrative safeguards in that it includes the BA contracts or the business associate contracts, and that they are documented and that group health plans are secure. Finally, policies and documentation section. That covers correct policies and procedures and ensures that they're in good place with good documentation of such. Healthcare in the past has not been considered a prime target for cyber attacks, but recent years have seen an exponential growth in attacks and subsequent breaches. As technology and interconnectivity increases in the field, the need for establishing good security will become more important and integral in the field. Much of the field has been built from a collage of hardware and software. This collage of assets has presented a challenge in organizing and standardizing policies and procedures for protecting EPHI. Acts like the HIPAA Security Rule of 2013 and the HITECH Act have provided a standardized and organized framework to build a solid cybersecurity defense.